Gonna tell her make me a grill.
Hey, it is Friday Thoughts, coming live from AOK Product Reviews. This is the week in review, more or less. This is where I just want to talk about I want to talk about the week. You know what I mean? A lot went on this week. I had box cutter week this week. Really enjoyed that. I did. It was a lot of fun. Let me loosen up here a little bit. There we go. Yeah. Maybe drink a cup of coffee. This is my first drink. So you guys know, every morning I share my first drink of coffee with you all. You ever see somebody drink a shot of whiskey and they get one of those? Yeah. My first drink of coffee gets that sometimes because toothpaste and coffee does not blend well. Second drink is always the best. Yeah, there we go. If you know me and you know my channel, you know that I have a knife roll that holds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 knives. Those are my 8 favorite knives. Whenever I review a knife that I like better than maybe the last in this, or maybe better than the first, I eliminate it from the roll. Your standard folders that are ranging up to maybe topping out at $80. That's where I'm at right after. I will be reviewing the next tier of knives. I'm going to order in at least three knives that are going to be between 80 and 120. It's a tough range. It's the starting range of getting into WE knives. It is believe it or not, it's going to be the Cold Steel range. It's where Cold Steel, for me, starts taking off. And if you're a Cold Steel guy, you're probably saying, what are you talking about, Rich? Cold Steel knives you can get really good Cold Steel knives in all the low and mid ranges. Yeah, you can. But you got to know when it's time to buy a certain brand, if you ask me. And I think Cold Steel really starts its action probably at about $80, $90, $100 range with S35 or S30, whatever. You're getting CPM. You're getting real good steel on your Cold Steel knife right about there. You're getting the ADs. You're getting the Lawman. You're getting the Code 4. Yeah. Daddy be getting, I think, a Lawman and probably a Code 4. I really want a WE knife, but man, they're pretty expensive. And the ones, I could get a WE banner for about $108, but I think I'm going to probably shoot for something that the knife reviewers may not have covered. So I'm still really trying to dial in on that. Throw something in the comments if you think you got a good idea on that. All right, so I was talking about the knife roll. Jumped over to what I'm going to be doing in probably 2 weeks. Because next week I don't think I'm going to do all week for Harbor Freight. I think that would be an injustice to my watchers to know that I would spend a whole week on the cheapest tool store in America. We're going to find out if these 5 items here are any good. So maybe I'll do 2 days, and then I'm going to jump over to something else. I'm thinking about doing the knife lighter. I don't smoke cigars. I don't smoke. Cigar and bourbon. That's, I guess, as manly as you can get in that realm. Cigar and bourbon. And hey man, you got to do cigar cutters. And I started looking online, and I see the big thing is cigar lighter combo kits. So I don't even really know what that's all about. So I'm going to learn a little bit about that. Maybe I'll do that towards the end of next week. I don't know. Maybe that should get a whole week and I do bourbon and cigar kits. Maybe cigars. Maybe I learn that I should smoke about that. But I can smoke a cigar with my buddies and maybe talk about them. So who knows? maybe I can get a couple of my daring friends to sit down on the couch over here and drink a little bourbon and talk about cigars and cigar kits. Enough about that. I introduced a new knife. Yes. Right next to the Petrified Fish Scholar and the Kaiser Assassin is my Milwaukee Fastback. You think I jest? Think again. This knife is the most impressive utility knife I've ever put my hands on. It is everything everybody said it was to be. It's not a necessary evil. I say evil because it's a knife. But I could use the cheapest utility knife and still love it. This may have become a utility EDC for me. Yeah, I'm that impressed with it. I'm that impressed with the action. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. I just don't get it. I just don't get how other utility knives have not followed suit. That button lock is great. I like wire pocket clips too for some reason. I think because the knife reviewers tell me to. I do what I'm told. 8 of the 10 utility knives I bought were awesome. They were great. The utility knife market, you can really do and get a lot of cool stuff. Then yesterday I went to the eye doctor and I bought a new pair of glasses. I got a fresh prescription with the proper progressive lenses. I can see pretty good, but there's just those times where something's just far enough out of the way where I know I should be able to read that and I can't. Or going out to dinner with my wife and looking at the menu and I gotta put the menu right up in my face. Oh, this coffee's hitting the spot today, guys. Right before I was supposed to go to the eye doctor, one of my oldest friends, Robbie Robinson, stopped by. So brought me a knife. Quick story about Robbie. His dad was one of my best friends as well. And he was ace. He was so important in my life that I had to get my first tattoo on my hand. I probably won't get any more. My wife was a little, why did you do that? I said, because when you have a tattoo or you have a person that's so close to your life and so important in your life and such an incredible person, Steven Robinson, his first nickname was Wheat. That was a great nickname. When I was a kid, I called him Wheat. And then when I was a kid, I had known him for 43 years. I've been friends with Robbie for 43 years. We're both 53. And his dad was always like a dad to me. Always. He never faltered. He was a incredible man. It broke my heart. I broke down and cried like a baby. It was my mom died when I was 15. That was sad, of course. My grandpa, her dad, died a year before her. Incredibly sad because I was a young kid and I didn't even know how to cry when it came to that. That was my other grandpa died when I was probably, I'm going to say 7 or 8. And I was really way too young. But a strange thing happened then. I was named after him, Rich Dick Armstrong. And I was named after him, but my middle name was Christopher. This is a good story. Let me just tell you the story. I'm going to make this video kind of long because it's Friday Thoughts. And, my true watchers are going to watch it all the way through, I believe. And the ones that aren't, maybe I can hook them and they can say, hey, this guy's a little interesting. Maybe he's not. I don't know. My dad's dad passed away when I was 7 or 8. We were living in California. He was living in Florida when he died. And it was the first time I ever saw my dad cry. And he said, hey, I was just a little dude. And he's like, hey, your grandpa died. And I'm like, okay. And, I don't even know if I cried. I didn't know what to think. I knew I loved the dude. He was a cool old dude. So let me get to this. We had just moved to California. Saw my dad crying. His dad died. And I didn't process it any certain way. I didn't have a plan. I wasn't motivated by anything. But my name was Christopher. That was my middle name. My first name was Richard after my grandpa, and my parents chose to call me Christopher from baby up to, the age of 7. Because I changed that. Something went on in my head. This is when I decided to be a free thinker, I believe. I was always a dipshit kid, I guess, but I decided to be a free thinker. My first day of school in California was shortly after finding out that my grandfather died. I went to this school. I meet these kids for the first time, and they asked me what my name is, and of course, and I said Rich. I don't know where that came from. I just changed my name to my grandpa's name, and it was no like big inspirational thing like, oh, my grandfather died. I didn't put any thought into it. It just happened organically, instantly. Didn't even think about it. So now my name's Rich on the playground at school. And then I'd go home and I was Christopher. Yeah, I was living 2 lives at the age of 7. I was a dynamic kid. I was out there. I was living 2 lives. I mean, I was moving and I was shaking. It was something else. Yeah, I've never been more free than when I was 7 years old and I was at home with my parents and they were calling me Christopher, Chris. And then I'd go to school and I was rich. I don't know. I was 007. Man, I was moving and shaking. The girls were like, yeah, this rich dude is bad news. New kid in town. His name's Rich. So the teacher, and this is where it really happened. So the teacher did the first roll call. Of course, you got all these kids and you got their full names, and the teacher comes across my name, and it's Richard Christopher Armstrong. And the teacher goes, so which is your name? And that's when I went, this thing that actors do when they're thinking? And I go, Rich. Yeah. You know when my parents figured this out? The first report card. I don't know if it was a good report card or not, but the teacher had to call my parents, so I'm guessing it wasn't great. So the teacher's talking to my mom on the phone and goes, Richard's doing really well, and or he's not doing so good. I don't know what happened in that conversation. My mom's like, okay, I think you have the wrong parent. Teacher goes, I don't think so. Richard Christopher Armstrong, right? My mom goes, that's his name, but we call him Christopher. The teacher goes, well, he goes by Rich at school. And my mom was a special person. That's probably where I got most of it from. She was dynamic. My dad was dynamic in another way, business-wise. My mom was dynamic in the creative sense. She was awesome. She really was, I think. And I'm not just saying that because she was my mom. But she was an incredible person. Big heart, talented, smart, beautiful. She was great. I don't think I think she was probably like, that's my dog. I would hope that's what she was thinking. That's my boy. He doesn't like his name, he changes it. At 7. Nobody tells him otherwise. He does what he does. He do what he do. My mom must have pulled me aside because, my memories are very vague. I'm 7 years old, crying out loud. I remember what the swing set looked like back then, and I remembered this all happened, but I'm probably getting these details a little scrambled. My mom sits me down, I guess, and goes, "Hey, so what's going on?" I said, "I don't know. Teacher asked me what my name was, and I just wanted to change it to Rich. I don't like the name Chris." She was like, "Okay." My dad may have given a little resistance because he's like, "Hey, what's wrong with our kid? Is there something wrong with him?" He would have saw it that way, whereas my mom saw it as, this kid has got it figured out. 7 years old, he's already got it figured out. I know that's what she was thinking. A little bit of time goes by. Phone call from my grandparents. Put our grandkid on the phone. Okay. "Hey, Chrissy, how you doing? Chris, you loving California? What do you think, Chris?" No answer. I give no answer. It's all about respect. They were not respecting my new name. They didn't mean it with any malice, but they weren't respecting my real name. No answer. They don't get an answer. Even my grandparents didn't get an answer. So, of course, back in the day when you talked to your grandparents, your mother stayed on the other line to make sure you didn't say anything stupid or make sure you talk enough. She'd answer your grandparents. And I go, "No." Now, my mom, she was an incredibly sweet woman, an awesome woman. Like I said, she was not a harsh woman. But if I was out of line, she'd let me know. And she'd say, "Do I have to get the fly swatter?" Yeah. Everybody, if you were born 1970 and you grew up in the 70s, there's a good chance you were disciplined with a fly swatter. That or a wooden spoon. Mine was a fly swatter. She looked at that thing and said, "There's no way this thing's ever going to really hurt my kid, but it's got to be a painful situation to get swatted with a fly swatter. Mentally and physically. Because it'd give you a little sting, and then you thought, my mom just whooped my butt with a fly swatter." You know those little books that kids have? Your parents go out and get this really pretty book that's kind of empty and just has little flowers and what was Rich's favorite thing? Next page. How old was Rich when this? What does Rich respond to the most? So Rich responds the most to a fly swatter. Yeah. These days, she probably would have been put in jail. Those days, and even now, she was one of the best parents that ever lived. Because she knew I needed something to respond to. Yeah. Something else. So finally my grandparents submitted and they decided to start calling me Rich, and then I started having a relationship with my grandparents again. You got to hold your ground. You got to find your identity, and you've got to hold your ground, and you got to hit the road. You got to drive down that road, and you got to drive as fast as you can. And you got to go right at everything. And you got to do it your way. That's my best advice on Friday. So, let's go back to my good friends, Ace Robinson, who passed away, and his son, Robbie. Now, Robbie and I, we go way back, a lot of stories, a lot of history. And he's, like I said, one of my oldest, dearest friends, but he's also a filthy animal. Yes, that man is a vile creature of the best type of vile in creatures. He truly is. I look at him and my heart fills with love and hatred all in one. That's the kind of friends you need to have, boys and girls. Don't go the easy route. Choose those friends that drive you nuts. Choose those friends that make you do stupid things. Choose those friends that you don't know what they're thinking, when they're thinking it. Choose those friends that are, but choose those friends that are unconditionally friends. Because that's what Robbie is to me. I look him straight in the face and I say, "You're a filthy animal. Get out of my home. He laughs, says, where's your vodka? Yeah, those are friends. He lives in Florida. Works for a company that's based out of Michigan. Indiana's home. I've been here 15 years, but all my good friends and my real family are here. So he pops in out of the blue. He's from Florida now. I didn't even know he was in town. I was on my way to the eye doctor, so I had to sit and talk to him for 5-10 minutes. One of my oldest friends is in town out of the blue, no notice, and he brings me a knife. So this is his company's knife. Now, I've had dealings with this company from when I used to work out in that field, but now they have hired the king of pipe and fittings in this Ohio Valley, Robbie Robinson, and now it's my favorite company, the McComb Group. If you have any needs and you want to buy pipe, flanges, fittings, sky's the limit. They sell all kinds of stuff. It's an industrial, commercial supplier where you live. McComb Group's all up throughout the Ohio Valley and the Midwest, and I think they're really spreading their wings all over the place. And now they've got Robbie Robinson working for them, and he's one of the best. He had to know he was a filthy animal, because you can be a filthy animal in the pipe and fitting world. You really can, and you can be very successful. When I say filthy animal, I mean you're a filthy animal, but you're also a bad dude. Yeah. So he brought me one of the knives that they have, that they give to their contractors and stuff. This has their name on the blade. Let's put this up here so you can see it. It's not the greatest knife. It's not the sharpest knife. It's got a little finger hole, some plastic grips, because they had to buy probably thousands of these. They're a big company. And they had also etch in the name of the company. But this is, there's probably 100 contractors out there right now. They're pulling this out of their pocket and they're cutting a strap off of a pallet of something. And they're doing it in the name of McComb Group. But McComb Group hired Robbie because they should have. He's a stud in the pipe fitting world. He's not a stud as a human anymore because I can whoop his butt. If I can whoop your butt, you're not a stud. But he gave me this knife and he was proud. So this knife is probably maybe a $7, $8 knife. I don't know, maybe even cheaper. Probably that after it gets etched, but it's a great little gift to give to contractors. And I love that they're doing that. And I'm going to have to maybe talk Robbie into talking his boss into upping his game and putting their company name on something like Petrified Fish. That reminds me, I got my first manufacturing knife. My first manufacturing knife from the manufacturer, Petrified Fish, yesterday in the mail. It is the Petrified Fish Beluga. I didn't do any research yet because I'm gonna. And I'm gonna put together some really cool stuff for that knife because it is really cool. It's not their first, it's not their finest, it's not their prototype. I'm not that guy yet, but it is a great knife. And it's a step above all the other Petrified Fish that I have now, because I have the Flavors, the Scholar, and I think it's the 786, 819, I don't know. It's just got a number. Oh, and I have the 818. Let's jump back on this. I'm going to have to talk to the head dude at McComb Group and get him to do this to Petrified Fish knife to give to his biggest, best customers. Let's give those guys a real good knife with McComb Group on the blade. Why not? But so my buddy Robbie gave me this knife, and this knife's going to go back up on the wall on the magnet there, so I can always pull it down and talk about it if I ever need to, and it's going to always remind me of my good friend Robbie. And what a filthy animal he can be. God love him. Had a good week, I think. I'm still kind of sick. I'm still, whatever, groggy, I guess, but you got to muscle through that stuff. You can't let that hold you back, drag you down. You can't do it. I'm kind of excited about next week, doing a little bit of Harbor Freight. Maybe I'll do Harbor Freight and I'll do the 3 new knives that I'm going to probably order and get in that are going to be in the 80 to 120 range. That sounds like a plan. And then maybe I'll put together a whole week of cigar, knives, kits, lighters, and bourbon following week. Yeah, I like that idea. Been a good week. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I bought the boxing thing. I renamed it the boxing thing. Right here. This thing. It's great. Get frustrated, get angry, give it a whack. So I think that's it. I think I will end this video on that. It's Friday. I'm waiting for noon so I can start drinking a beer. Yeah, it's Friday, noon. Going to the Pacers game tonight with a couple good friends. Jason Reeser and Angie. And they're going to take me and my wife to the Pacer game tonight. He said they're pretty good seats. I've been to a Pacer game a long time ago, and we sat up in the nosebleeds, and it was still a lot of fun. Even though I'm not really a NBA fan anymore, LeBron James changed all that. When Kobe died, I think he was murdered. Look into that, guys. Yeah, of course I love conspiracy theories, but I think he was murdered. I think he was about to spill the beans on some of the bad boys. Yeah. But LeBron James now is like the face of the NBA, and I don't like that guy. I think he's a jerk. I'm going to end it. Good talking to you on Friday. I hope you all have a great weekend. Deuces. Don't let your meatloaf. Don't let your dingle dangle. And always be a gentleman. Be kind to animals. This was brought to you by Daddy Dig Productions.